welcome back to Afrik Express. Before we took a break, we were talking with Dr. Susan Chi, from an oncologist from Dana-Farber, and Susan Childers, a nurse practitioner from Dana-Farber. Talking of children and tumor, there are different phases of treatment where either you guys decide to do surgery or decide to do chemo. Now, what would you see in a child to say, okay, to make that determination, Dr. Chad?
So, most important, we need to know what type of tumor this is. And actually, although we might say brain tumor, there are actually over 100 different types of brain tumors. And so, it's very important to have the correct diagnosis up front. And based on the actual type of tumor that it is, and based on the location and the child's age, we will recommend a certain treatment. And the treatments range from surgery, radiation therapy or radiation treatment, and chemotherapy. And depending on the type of tumor that it is, we have well-established experience with the most common types of tumors. And for the very rare tumors, we have, again, treatment plans for those types as well.
So, Christine, these chemotherapies, how often, let's say, is decided that the child is going to get chemotherapy like Ralph is doing right now, how often do they have to get this treatment?
Again, depending on the type of brain tumor that we're treating, that may vary, but in general, chemotherapy regimens typically last about a year of therapy, and that is either weekly therapy or every other week therapy, and that can vary, again, depending on the type of tumor. We're trying to do a lot more treatment outpatient in our outpatient clinic to help quality of life of the children so they can be at home with their families in the evening, at night, versus going into the hospital. That's not always possible depending on the type of brain tumor, but that's one of the goals.
Are there any side effects to chemotherapy, especially when a child is a child that is doing it?
Sure. Unfortunately, yes, and that's another goal of research, is trying to minimize the side effects of chemotherapy. Common side effects include nausea or vomiting, and we give medications during the treatment, and the parents continue those treatments at home to help prevent those side effects. Other side effects include hair loss, some stomach aches, fatigue is a big side effect, sometimes pain. Each drug has different side effects, and we work very hard to minimize the side effects.
I could imagine that this is a teamwork, because it seemed like, you can't work with one person without the other. Everybody, both the psychologist, social work, everybody is involved to try to make this as less traumatic as possible for the family that is involved. Now, in African community, there's something that in African community we do. We have a tendency to, when such a thing happens in the family, or a child comes out with a certain disease or deformity, because of the stigma, the family tend to recluse themselves and not really seek out support or even talk about what is going on with them. It almost like there is, like they did something wrong. Please do explain to our viewers, how does tumor come about, or cancer?
I think if we knew that, we would all be rich. There's obviously people are trying to find out what is the cause of cancer, what triggers them, why do young children get them, why do some tumors come up later in life, why do, they're just what starts the cancer, and nobody knows.
But it's not necessarily genetic.
Oh, and so thank you. I think many of our parents ask us, what caused it? Was it something that I did? And while there are a small number of genetic conditions that are where tumors may be associated with them. For the the vast majority of all brain tumors, at least, there is no indication that this is due to an inherited condition. It is nothing related to the pregnancy, the diet, the environment. We don't have the answer. It is horrible luck, but it happens.
But there are research going on to find out.
Absolutely. And for certain tumors, we are learning what is that mechanism of developing the tumor. Particularly in low-grade astrocytomas, we have a very large program at Dana-Farber called the Pediatric Low-Grade Astrocytoma Program. There are new technologies that are being used to identify specific profiles, biologic profiles from the tumor, to see if we can also develop drugs, medications, chemotherapy that will specifically target the mechanism that may have started the tumor or contributes to the growth of the tumor.
So more of a preventative medicine, or?
Not a preventative medicine, but if we understand how the tumor continues to proliferate or to grow, then perhaps we can find a drug that may stop that from happening or keep it from happening, so that it just keeps it, obviously shrinks it or keeps it very, very stable.
Now, a family that is going through this and is from the minority community, what would you say to them if you were working with them? In terms of their child going through this, and in terms of how to get support?
I think that, first of all, we would say that you're not alone. There's people here at the Dana-Farber that can help you. We're there to help them get through that. And again, they didn't cause this. This just happened, and we're going to get them through it.
There are, in the clinic, by the frequency that the families do come, they actually meet other families that are going through the same process, and they advise one another, help, support each other that way as well. And if a family so wishes, we try to introduce them to another family so that they are matched up with someone who is going through the exact same thing, not just another cancer, but their particular tumor type.
I understand that you guys also work with the kids and the family and the school. That is really, I think is really going beyond your work from the hospital circle and going into school. Why do you do that? Is it a continuation of treatment, or just to make sure that things are going well, or including the school system?
It's really just to keep the children's lives as normal as possible, and a normal life in a child includes school and their peers and friends, and so we have really supported a school liaison program within our clinic as well, to make sure that all the supports are there from the school side to help our kids get through their treatment and beyond after treatment.
And also, too, it's important to educate the schools about the diagnosis so that they can help them medically, if they have to go to the nurse, as well as educationally and academically in the classroom.
All right, because when they're back in the classroom, they spend at least 6 hours a day with them.
Yes.
I think that is very good.
And they work very hard on educating and supporting their classmates, too. We have a program, they go into the classroom, and if the parents wish, to talk to them about the child and their classmate, about the diagnosis, so that they're not scared when the child's back in the classroom.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on Afrik Express. You have been very informative, and the work that you guys are doing is great. I know that Dana Farber also, they do fundraising, Jimmy Fund Walk yearly. And so if anybody wants to get involved in that, they
You can put a team together and walk.
okay.
We have
All right.
children of all ages to adults that walk for us.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on Africa Express. We will take a break right now.